we are doing lesson 3 today. We skipped lesson 2. So just a heads up on that. We're talking about volume again. So if you remember, volume is the space a 3D object takes up. So we're going to be looking at this rectangular prism today, and we're going to talk more about finding volume by looking at layers. So if you see this rectangular prism, I can pull it apart for you and show you how many blocks ahead of time I used. So I used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I would say the volume of this prism is 12 units cubed, or cubic units. So that would be my volume here. And I can take this prism apart because I built it with blocks, but we're looking at prisms on paper. So we got to figure out how are we going to be able to count and figure out volume when we just see it on paper. So I want to show you here. Again, we can talk about the layers. So if you see here, I have 2 layers this way. Here's 1 and here's 2. Whoops. Messed up my block. 1 and 2, but I can't see the whole bottom layer. So what I can do is, because I can see the top layer, I could count the top layer. So the top layer has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have 6 on the top layer, times I have 2 layers, 1, 2, and that would give me 12 total square units. Does that make sense? The other way I could do it is I could look at layers a different way. So for example, if I'm looking here, I can see this whole side, right? I can see that it has 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks. So I can see 4 blocks this way, and then I can kind of see that I have 1, 2, 3 sets of 4. So I can do 4 times 3, and that would also give me the correct volume of 12. And then finally, what I could do is I could look at the front. So we looked at the top, we looked at the side. Now I want to look at the front. So the front has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if you can kind of see, we have a front layer and we have a back layer. So that would also be times 2. And we still get 12. But as you can see, we still get 12 cubic units, or 12 units cubed for every one of our answers. We're just kind of taking it apart with different layers. So let me try another one for you. Okay, I built you a much bigger tower this time. So we're going to try to figure out the volume by figuring out the layers. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the top of this shape, and I'm going to figure out how many blocks are at the top of the shape. Here's a little bonus information for you. When I'm looking at how many squares are on one side, I'm finding the area. Because I'm using 2 dimensions, length and width, to find the area. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cubes. I could also do 1, 2, 3 times 1, 2, 3. 3 times 3 is 9. You guys know that, though. That's a review skill. So our top layer has 9 cubes. Now we got to figure out how many layers there are. So if I were to take this layer off, basically, how many layers would there be? So if I can count here it is. Here's layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, and layer 4. So I'm going to do 9 times 4, and I'm going to get 36 units cubed. And the reason I'm using units is these aren't centimeter blocks, they're just blocks. So that's why I'm using units cubed. Okay, so let's try it another way. So let's say I'm not going to look at the top this time. This time I'm going to look at the front side. We also call this a face. So let's just figure out how many blocks are on the front face. So I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You can also see that I have 4 rows of 3, so 4 times 3 is 12. Anyway, our front one has 12. Oops, I just knocked over this tower. Oh well, we don't need it. Okay. So I have 12 in this front layer. Now I'm trying to figure out, if I take this layer off, how many layers of this do I have? I have 1, 2, 3. Does that kind of make sense? So 12 times 3, I still get 36 units cubed. So our total volume would obviously be 36 units cubed, and we did that by finding layers. We're going to go ahead and jump into some sample problems and see if we can make sense of this on paper.
So here I'm looking at some sample problems. This looks like your problem set, but it's not. It's just some sample problems. And these are the directions. It says use the prisms to find the volume. So here's the prisms, here's the prisms. It says the rectangular prism pictured below were constructed with 1 centimeter cubes. So that's why it's saying cubic centimeters as the label. Decompose each prism into layers in 3 different ways and show your thinking on the blank prism. Complete in the table. If you want to just do 2 ways, I'm okay with that. If you want to do all 3 ways, that's fine too. Do what works best for you, but I'm going to kind of show you how I'm going to break this up. So when I look at this prism, I can look at it a few different ways. I can look at the front side and see how many there are, and then see how many layers, and this is how I would decompose it. Okay. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on the front side. So number of cubes in each layer is 8. And then I see 1, 2, 3 layers. So number of layers is 3. And the way that they want you to draw it down here is kind of show what you're thinking in the prism. It's a little tricky, but I think you can figure it out. So I had 1, 2, 3 layers. That is really hard to see, I'm sorry. And then each layer had 8. So I basically have 8, 8, and 8. And we know all together that gives me 24. I know that's really hard to see. I'm sorry. Trying my best over here, guys. Next one. So same prism, just looking at a different way to look at it. So this time I'm going to look at the top. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 on the layer. And then if I'm looking at this layer, I see 1, and then I see 2. So on my model down here, I would draw 2 different layers. That's easier to see. See the 2 layers there? And then I would know that there's 12 in this layer and 12 in this layer. So again, I get 24. Sorry, I forgot to tell you, 2 layers. So that's how I would do that one. All right, finally. Let's say my drawing is all messed up now, but I'm looking at this shaded side right here. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cubes in that layer, and then I see 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. So on my model here, here's my 1, 2, 3, and 4 layers, and each one has 6, 6, 6, and 6. So I know altogether I have 24 cubic centimeters. Let's try one more, see if we can make sense of this. Okay, so again, I'm going to start with the top layer this time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cubes in that layer. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those layers. So on my drawing, I would show my 5 layers. And show each of them have 6. So altogether I have 30 cubic centimeters. Let's try another one. Let's try going from the side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I have 1, 2, 3 of those layers. So on my drawing here, I'm going to show my 3 layers that all have 10 in them. 3 layers times 10 in each layer is again 30. And then finally, I could do it from the front. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and I have 1, 2 of those layers. So I would show, I would show my layers like this. My 2 layers having 15 and 15. 2 layers with 15 each again gives me 30.
For your problem set and exit ticket today, you are doing everything from your problem set except you're skipping number 3. So you have 1, A and B, number 2, skip 3, and then you have number 4. It's very similar to what we just did on Explain Everything, so you should be fine. And then for your exit ticket, I would like you to do the whole thing, take a picture of it, and upload it to Seesaw. If you need any help with that, please let me know. Hope you guys have a great day. See you later. Bye!